Well, welcome everyone to part 18 of the D7 battlecruiser builds. Today we're actually going to do some of the window holes on the front of the Klingon ship. I actually took some tape and traced the decals and the spacing so that I can actually cut the white ones out and actually drill holes for the lights, and then I'll still have the blacked out decal windows for the blacked out windows. And then we'll be doing some of the final wiring to get it ready for the glue the tops down. So let's go check it out. Well, hello. Welcome back. We're going to do some window drilling. I got a mask here to mark out what windows I want. So what I did is looked at the decals. They have some white ones and then the black dark ones. So what I did is just took some Scotch tape, peeled that out to about the size, and then I touched it a lot to try to get rid of some of the stickiness because I wasn't too sure how it would come back off the decal sheet. But laid it down, then marked all the window holes. I used blue to mark the dark ones and then red the ones I want to drill. So we're going to drill, I'm just going to go off their decals and drill out the whites, which are supposed to symbolize that those lights are on in the decal. But we'll eventually either pop them out, or I'm hoping maybe even the light might go through it enough that just to leave it alone. But you know, if not, we'll just poke through them, or even just cut that area right off the decal, so then just make it 3 pieces. But we'll see when we get to that part. I'm thinking since most of the ones they show here, all the ones actually they show here are lit or circular ones, and it's easy to drill a circular hole. So I don't want to go with a ton of lights up there, so if I just have those, that'll be fine. It's going to have fewer than this one, because this one here they did, you know, there's 4, 5, 6 there and 3 here. And if you look at the part that goes over there, this one's only going to have 3 of those lit. It would be those 2 and this one up front, and then it has these 3 bigger ones that won't be. But I also want to see what JT's graphics sheet looks like. I don't know if he has light ones and dark ones as well. But I guess there's nothing to it but to do it. Should be fun. We want to stay on, basically on that hole, so that if I do decide not to cut the decal, I hope this works. Slowly, and try to stay square. Drill a hole, and there it is. I was like, I didn't think this wall was that thick. Because this way, also if I decide to touch that hole up with some tape, I can, or with paint, I can before I do my. That's clear. I'm gonna try to widen them, not widen, but hit at different angles. Alright, just a few more to do here. That one did okay. Let's see if I can swing that, I can see a little better. I said worst comes to worst, I'll just cut that area of decal off. I hope that's not a lot of paint underneath. I hope that's just the tape. I'm thinking it's just the tape. And I'm hoping the tape works. Like sometimes if you cut and you cut through tape, it keeps the piece, like say if it's like a laminated wood, it keeps that laminated top surface from breaking up. So I'm hoping that's what the tape's doing also with drilling the hole. It's helping the paint not chip up. I'm sorry if my head's in the way. Here we go. Give it a couple good spins. A little bit of a wiggle. Now, just from looking from up front, it looks pretty good. I wonder if we can get some... We'll wait. I was going to see if I can get some light through it now. But there it is. We'll see what it looks like once we pull this tape off. But like I said, if they're not lining up right, because I'll lay it over first. If they're not lining up right, I'll just cut the white out, which is probably what will happen, and I'll just put the blacks where I want them, where they should be. But it'd be neat if the whites go over top perfectly, and then I can use that white film to diffuse the light. But let's see what it looks like. Here's the, oh yeah. That side looks good, and that side looks good. I don't know if you can see, but there they are. And that should be good for on that section. Yeah, the tape kept it from wanting to pop out, like the paint to pop it, although the acrylics are pretty nice and soft, so we'll drill in, and those drill holes look nice and crisp. What is that? Bottom. Like I said, if worst comes to worst, we just won't put those in, and that looks fine just like that. I'll go dab a little bit of paint in the holes. Just because you can, there's a lot of filler there, and you can kind of see a little bit of a reddish around what would be the sill and the layers of paint. So I just go in there and dab a little thin green in there just to close those holes up. We should give this a try. First, let's knock the dust off the sheet here without losing everything. I like to lay a rag down when I got painted ships, you know, models. What we doing? Okay. Let's just do it simple and add those on there. And hope and pray that it glows enough. Oh yeah. There we go. I got a little light bleed in the torpedo launcher, I see. Or actually that's a radar dish on the D7. lights on top are looking good, and those are working great. I did it in the warm white to give it that more, you know, 60s feel instead of the bright white. Oh yeah. Once we throw some window maker in there, I'll get rid of the twinkling. What am I gonna do to light block that torpedo or the deflector right? I'm not sure. But the main thing is I'm happy. Engines are still glowing good, which I like. That's a plus. Did I get rid of? I noticed I saw some light leaks in those, and I think I got it when I did the silver. No, there's still a little there, so I'll have to put some black up in there. Black up there, and there are some more silver. I'm really happy with the lights and the windows. Awesome. Well, that's basically going to be it. Well, I'll be back. I'll have the ones I have to drill in there and the ones I have to drill in here. This one, all these are pretty much drilled because it's probably going to be the same on the side, but it'll have more because I think I'm only going to do 1, 2, 3 here, and then we'll do those 3. And then probably but like I said, I want to get the decals from JT, and then I can do the same thing, and I'll see if he has any of those. If he did the black and the white to symbolize windows on the decal to be on, because the white on the decal, white windows are supposed to look like they're lit. So I don't know if it's going to be the same exact. The window placements will be like the arrangements, but still the spacing could be just a hair different in that alignment. So I'm gonna have to wait until I get those in. But I'll come back when we have the rest of these drilled. Like I said, those on the Romulan one, I'm gonna have to hold off until I get the decals from him, from JT. But that worked good. The old, if you want to transfer where things are from a decal, whether you're just going to drill them all out or just some of them like they have on the sheet. It's a piece of Scotch tape, you know, and I definitely might like to get rid of the tackiness. And it's great because it curves around just like the decal would, and it's an inexpensive little transfer of the decal. So I thought about putting the decal on and then drilling through the decal, but this is much easier. This way I can get paint in those holes now. We might have had a little bit of lift in there, and it could be in the filler underneath, but I think once I throw some paint there, you won't see it because it's more of a crack than it actually lifting up. And so I can just kind of doing that's actually helping it. But get some paint and another clear coat, and that'll be good. What am I going to do way down in there? It's just because you can't get paint up there without getting all this painted heavy. So. I think what we'll do is we'll just brush some green in there, maybe a little bit of black, and then brush some green, get rid of that light leak. And I have to get up in here a little more. I think it just needs another coat, and the silver blocks the light pretty good. Alright, but like I said, we'll be back. We'll get the resistor on here and get these wired up. I'm going to put a connector on here so that I can, and some tails off the top and a connector. That way I can get this all ready and glued up, and then just connect and then sit down instead of having these soldered together and you know, either I have to have a tail way out here to get this out of the way. That's always the pain, because I could just solder this like that, but then I'm dealing with gluing like this, and you know, what do I do? Take this and go like that, and yeah, I need my hands. So I think we do little jumpers, get this edge prepped with glue, and then I can just snap connect, boom. We definitely want to test the connector too. But I think that'll be the best way to do it. So I'll be back in a little bit with all that stuff ready, and I'll show you how it came out, and then we'll get to gluing this. I might even get this ready because I got to get a main wire up through here and get that piece on there. We'll see you shortly. Okay, I'm back. Got the holes all drilled in. See if we can get some light. I got those up on here done. All on the sides. There's those 3 there. There's the 2 in the back, or the 3 in the back, if you can see. Well, that's looking good. And then I got the 2 that I wanted there for in the neck on each side. So we got all the window holes in. And they're looking really good. So what we're going to do is get some of the soldering gun done. I put that that's what's going to hold the post. That was actually supplied with the kit. I was going to do the ball joint thing, but when you're trying to hold the other one so it could be widened for the post, it just makes it loose, and this thing, I'm afraid, is just going to sit there and go whoop. So we're just going to do it straight. But let's get in the wiring done. I got a resistor soldered onto the main power. I just tied it this way, that way the power can come up. You know, the main power will come in here and then distribute, and then this resistor's for this SMD LED, these 2 leads here. They're real tiny. And then I'm going to put a connector. I have a whole bunch of these. I actually made this go on a circuit board, and that's what I mainly got them for. And I could have put a breadboard in here and ran, you know, positive and negative, and then had rails that were positive and negative. But it's just so much easier, especially when it's only a wire for each engine and a wire going up for the neck. And then the SMD I did different because it's not a light strip, and here's a light strip, and then the nacelles is a light strip, which they're pre-resistored. So, but I think I can get this to work like a you know, like a plug. If I do something like solder those 2 like that and shrink tube them all nice, then this can get this tail, which I was using on the Falcon, jump for one breadboard and then plug into another, or just bring a wire up to power the actual breadboard. Yeah, that I'll solder to the top, and that'll give me the tails, and then I'll have all this to, you know, that way I can get this prepped to glued, plug her in, and good to go. So like I said, I already soldered this resistor on to the positive, so we'll grab this positive. Come on, you. And we'll solder that onto that, but we can cut a lot of this off. So, get my universal pliers. The excess wire from the resistor. Let's tin this guy. What solder I found laying around the house is so thin, I gotta use like so much of it. It's the only problem. Let's get these out of the way, less stuff in the way. And another thing I have is these for LED strips, these easy clips where you just stick the LED strip in and clip this down and that powers them up. I haven't found a real, it's just so easy to solder, and in a lot of places I'm putting LED strips, this connector is so big it's in the way. Like if I would try to put it in here, you know, it'd be a pain, and I'll find uses for it, but I probably, no, it would have been a lot up in there. I'll find uses for it. Alrighty, so moving on, we can try to get this piece to clip on there. Let's use this trusty little this is going to be tricky, especially when this needs a lot of solder just to even get it to stick. They're really fine. Oh, I want to get a piece of shrink tube on there. Alright, so we want a little tube, like a little bit. Oh, what the best way to do that? Oh, I lost that one. They're so small I can't even pick them up. Let's slide you over first. Over that. Do that. Some solder out again. Let's do this right. I think I got it. It's such a small wire, but I always give it the pull test. Yep, that's on there. And we'll bring that solder up. Just a quick heating with that, and there we go. Now the negative. Let's see if we can get the solder on here. The hardest thing about with these wires is they're so tiny, they're hard to strip. So they do come pre-stripped. You know what I'm going to do? What helps? I don't need all this end. This does help. If you solder a little bit of that on the back. I don't know how well this is going to go. I do that because it just gives, since it's so hard to strip these, even with my automatic ones, they don't. It wants to just break the wire. Now I got a good piece of wire to twist and put on there. And we can come in here and solder that on. There we go. Do another pull test. Very good. Let's get warm in here. Just close that door. There we go. Okay. Now, next thing we need to do is get the main power that's going to come up through. And how do I want to do that? Feel the heat from that. And I think we're going to use magnet wire. I got a bunch of these, but I like using them inside because they work good on LED strips. The magnet wire works good on stuff that you can get hot, like this type of connection, or onto a regular LED or resistor. But LED strip tape, you don't want to get too hot, and it doesn't do too well with it. So, but we can use it for this application. So I'll use some red. I think it was the green I found was hard to melt. I want to turn my gun up here. Yeah, I think the green I've had a fun time trying to get to melt. Because it has just a coating on it, and the heat of the solder should melt it away. I think the green was being a pain in my butt. So, where's that? There it is. This will hold it more stable. Let's see, let's pre-melt an end here. I want to make sure it melts it off good. There you got good clean wire. Yeah, see, that worked really nice. And we'll bring that one up through. And then we got to guesstimate how much we need. Just give it a good twist on. And any extra insulation I have in there should melt with the solder. And then we'll trim it. Go. And we'll do a test And I guess we'll go off of that. I should give it a little clip. Clean that end up. And then we want to put one of these on. This could be hard to get a piece of shrink tube back in there. I have to go with a bigger piece. Let's see what will fit. It's got to go over all that stuff. That black works. Green's the next smallest. Will that work? Oh yeah. That's the one we want. And we're only gonna need that much, so. As long as we can get that out of the way, so we can solder, and then we can slide it forward without shrinking it. See if that works. Now, how do we hold this? Let's tin that. Tin both of them. I hope I didn't bend it. Yeah, that pin moved a little bit. It got so high it heated up the plastic. Yep. There we go. You can check to make sure. That'll plug in. I want to turn that down. That works. Okay. Wonder if that'd be a good idea to leave that in there. That way it holds that pin stable. Let's pull and make sure that that's on there. See, it even got hot enough that the shrink tube even shrunk up. Son of a gun. I was worried about that. I was worried about that. What can we do? I mean, I could always unsolder and then try to get another piece to go over top. Well, it probably is going to get just as hot. I probably shouldn't have took it off because that one's just soldering itself back on too. Or shrink tubing itself down because by the time I get this hot enough, and this is getting get the dirt off there. It's just turning, getting an angle. And this wire never. You definitely want to get a wireless for, a wireless soldering gun, because when situations like this where I can't get exactly where I want to be. That's just gonna have to be how it's gonna be, because I can't get anything down here, because this wasn't exactly how I was planning on doing it. So that's kind of upsetting, but oh well. As long as they don't touch anything, that's the main thing. Where liquid electrical tape would come in handy. So I'll still at least try to do this and trim this a little bit too. There we go. That at least takes some of the stress off the. Be fun either. If I can get this to hold that. Should get the other open that new piece of solder. It's a thicker solder. It doesn't take so long to get solder for the. Ooh, that was getting hot. Oh, I hope it didn't ruin the connection. Oh, let's shrink the rest of this. Let's see if I can get it to slide up. I doubt it. Yeah, that ain't moving. That'll work. Well, I don't know. Let's see. It's on there good. I don't know how much it's No, that's still snapping in good. Oh, good. This has got leads. Like already pre-stripped. So I can. Yeah, and I should be able to backfeed it. Yep, everything's working. Yeah, and engines are glowing. Let's see if I can get it to spin. I'll shorten. There's everything's in the way. Sorry. Oh, that's the main thing. Windows are all going. So sweet. And obviously if power's going up this to feed all that, it should go the opposite way. Because it's really going to come up through that. So that's good. That's a good sign. Very, very good. Excuse me. So we're good. Disconnect that. You know, even if I could have got a big connector right on here, you know, a big piece of shrink tube. Would be great. But they're not hitting, so we should be good. Okay. Pieces of that I trimmed off. So, how long do we make this? This is the question. I'm thinking she's gonna probably about like that. I want them to sit like about that high, and their dome is here. So, and always leave extra. Let's say right there works. I'd rather have extra. That means I can do a heck of a rod and still make it over to a switch. Where do we have a... Of course you're not going to make it all the way around. Look for that little hole. Let's see if we can get this green to melt. It's good if you hit the tip. If you hit the tip of it, it helps it where you cut it. It helps it start to melt better. And see, it worries me that even the solder won't stick to it. There we go. Take a little Scotch-Brite to it, and then that gets it clean. Alright. Hopefully that's working. I should probably go with the copper or the brassy color because I know that works. But let's try it. Oh shoot. I forgot to tie that in before I tied that in. You big dummy. Are you kidding me? We can fix that. I can't believe I did that. It's like a rookie mistake right there. That's why you always prep, because you know this is going to pop off. And especially with this green that's not wanting to stick really good. Where's the green? It's on there. Yeah, it's on there. Well, maybe I got a big piece of shrink tube I can slide over top of that mess. It's going to be a big one, which I do have, but it's going to be a red. Looks like. Nope, even bigger than that. Oh, what good this is going to do, because it's not going to get really tight on the bottom half of the wiring. You mean to tell me I can't get a red one across that? If I can fit that over there that good? Is that difference? Big of a difference? Should check the other bin. Yeah, what a difference. Try, but I don't think so. It starts catching. I'm going to try to get it in there. That'll work. I was hoping I was going to be able to do that. Okay, no biggie. Try the black one anyway. I don't think it's going to work right. Alrighty. Now, let's give it the same amount of wire. There we go. Alrighty. Probably the best thing to do let's use this again to keep it off the mat. See if we can strip a little bit of this. Let's try the green again. Although it went pretty well last time, but ouch. Have any luck here, especially with this end there. Cross your fingers. Hey, and again we're working. Engines are working, light windows are working. That hole's actually going to be covered, but I'm kind of worried about it because it's just a peg. Oh, but it's beautiful. So next thing to do, I could probably leave that. Let's see if I can leave that hook again. I'll do the other ship another day. It's getting late. What we can do is take this and solder it onto the that way. I can put it on the top part. That's the negative. Well, I got a hot iron here. And then we'll test that. Come back and hit that better. I think I definitely got to go with the thicker solder because it's just, you're just sitting here forever. I could take like 5 inches of this solder before I get a decent ball soldering in here. Oh, and let's get, let's do a little shrink tube here. Would be nice. You keep wanting to flip under there. There we go. We can unsolder this because we forgot to put shrink tube on it. Anywho. It's just not. Here's my new roll. It's good for that small wire, but when I got bundles like this, alright. Taped it again, really. Like one thing of tape wasn't enough. Now let's see. Instead of sitting there forever. Beautiful. try it like this first before we. Oh yeah, and that's working. So we can slide the shrink tube. Hopefully we'll go over this. Yeah, there we go. So that looks a little better. There we go. And there we go, that's lighting up too. Engines are flickering and fluttering. So then that can go just like that. And there we go. Oh, I'm so happy. That looks good. It's coming along. Well, I think we'll call that a night. That was a pretty big segment there, but wiring is done. The connection's going to work great. That way that can all fold up in there nice. But I can even now do it like that if needed to be. But now I can pull the two halves apart and they're not permanently like stuck together until it's glued. So once again, thanks for watching. And next segment we'll glue that top down. I'll get that one caught up as far as wiring, and then we'll take it from there. So thanks again.